My guest today, Jerald Stiele, owns 3 collision repair centers in Minnesota. He's a DRP shop and says that they repair vehicles properly. He also is working with local schools and attracting talent to his shop. What? These are 2 huge topics in the industry right now, and Jerald seems to have an answer for both of them. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Body Bangin', your podcast for all things body. Auto body, that is. And now, introducing Body Bangin's host, Mickey Woods of Mickey Woods Marketing. Mickey is a former auto collision center owner and is now a marketing and business development expert to shops across the globe.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to today's episode of the Body Bangin' Podcast. If you don't know, this podcast is blowing up. It's going crazy. Over 1,000 downloads every week, which is amazing. Kudos to all of you and thank you to all of you for tuning in. And if you're new to the podcast, make sure if you're on YouTube that you go and hit the subscribe button so you can get notified when a new one drops. They come out every 2 weeks, and like the video so that way it will start sharing with more people. And if you're listening on Apple Podcast or Spotify, please follow us so that you can also be notified. And if you're on Apple Podcasts and you really want to be crazy, you can scroll all the way down and write a review or leave a review. I'd love to hear from you guys. So today we are talking about a hot topic in the industry. And it is about properly repairing vehicles. And I've had a lot of guests on. If you've heard the podcast before, you know we talk about properly repairing vehicles and what that looks like to my past guests. So I went on and posed the question online because I'm getting kickback on this to some degree from my DRP shops. Well, Mickey, who's to say I'm not repairing the car properly? I'm a DRP. You guys are making these sweeping statements that we're not repairing cars properly because we're a DRP shop. So I went on Facebook and made a post in one of the groups and said, if you're a DRP shop and feel like you're fixing cars right, reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you. Well, everybody wants to complain, but nobody wants to come talk to me. So God bless Jerald Stiele. He's part of the One Collision Network. He has 3 locations, all in Minnesota. Welcome, Jerald. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Mickey.
Yes, you are one of the very few that agreed to talk about this topic as a DRP repair facility. So real quick, Jerald's been in the industry for over 25 years. So he's a veteran. He grew up in the industry. His grandfather actually started one of the shops that he owns now, and then he's expanded to 3 locations. So he's got Golden Valley, Prior Lake, and Hopkins, Minnesota, 3 different. And you can see one of them is his background if you're watching on YouTube. He's got Hopkins Auto Body 1 and then 2 collision center ones. So that's awesome. You're a growing, thriving business. Super exciting. Yeah, you're blessed.
No, thank you. I am blessed. Yeah.
You're doing something right if you continue to grow, right?
I like to think so, yes.
Now, I see in your background, you are certified by different manufacturers. Is that for all
between
locations?
Our 3 locations. Yep, between our 3 locations, we have 8 OEM certifications or recommendations.
Right.
Some of them go with the recommendation certifications. So it's important to us. And then also the iCar Gold Class status is very important to us.
Yes.
And along with continuing education and being always up to date on repair processes, procedures, and safety issues.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're just going to dive right in, Jerald. So
perfect.
You're like, oh God, what did I sign up for?
Right.
So the rub is, I guess the question is, and I was thinking about this because it really comes down to what does the individual shop owner consider a proper repair? I have DRP shops that say, Mickey, I repair the vehicle properly. The insurance company gives me X amount of dollars and I repair it to the best of my ability under the DRP agreement. And I consider that a proper repair. So the question for you is a DR shop at your shops, what do you feel like is a proper repair?
Well, I think there's no way to argue against OEM specifications or OEM recommendations.
Right.
100%. So yeah, I recently came across your podcast and I've enjoyed listening to it lately. I'm glad I found it, and I'm going to be a regular listener now. So I appreciate that.
Yay.
And I seen that question posed on one of your sites or one of your social medias.
Mm-hmm.
And it really caught my attention right away because it frustrates me very much to see the generalization that you cannot be a direct repair shop and safely, properly following OEM guidelines repair a vehicle.
Yeah.
Because I think it can be done. Is it always done? Probably not. And there probably are a lot of situations where it's not done.
Right.
But the generalization of that really bothered me because we do it properly.
Right.
We do it with some DRP relationships.
Okay.
That allow us to better fix a car in a timely manner without the hangups of waiting for approvals or filing short pay claims. So we draw a fine line though with our DRP partners and say, hey, if you're ever not going to pay us for a procedure or allow us to do a procedure under the direct repair program that is safety related or is necessary to repair that vehicle, then the relationship's over.
Nice. Nice.
That's why it bothers me to see the generalization by some shops saying that it's either one way or the other. It doesn't always have to be. And I get in some markets, it may be that way, but here it is not.
Yeah. And I think that's something really important. And you and I talked about this on the initial call that we had, that I really appreciated you saying that, that you're still in the driver's seat. Although you have DRP relationships, you have relationships and contracts with the insurance company, understanding that at the end of the day, you as a shop will fix it according to the OE procedures. And if they are not on board with that, then you will sever ties with them. And I'm sure traversing that is tricky. Can be.
Absolutely. Tricky. Yep, it is. And we have had some difficult conversations with some of the insurers on that stuff.
Yeah.
And we have ended some relationships over it. So we're not afraid to do that. But we also feel that some of these relationships can be beneficial.
Yes. Well, and that's really why the whole DRP thing started. When I owned my shop over 15 years ago, I wanted every DRP I could possibly get. It was different then. And it made the process so smooth because like you said, you're not waiting for an adjuster to come out, the immediate approval, move forward with things, the lag time for the consumer. It moves through the process so much easier. We weren't having the level of constraints by insurance that we see today. So it's interesting because now the word DRP feels really dirty. Do you feel like that?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And rightfully so in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
It just bothers me when it says it's all the time or all the cases.
Right.
Where I have an issue with it.
Yeah. And I appreciate you saying that because there are a lot of DRP shops out there that are doing the right thing. And that was my whole goal when I reached out in the post, that we're hearing one side and there are a lot of different sides whenever there's a story. So I wanted to explore the different perspectives in this. And I really appreciate you coming forward and saying something because there are DRP shops listening right now like, Jerald, yes. Thank you.
And I love being able to bring that out and talk about that. But I also, too, I get a lot of the things that a lot of these anti-DRP shops are doing it. And I love the way they're paving the way for a lot of situations on these short play claims, basically, where insurance companies are not paying us for the proper procedures, are paying us enough for a technician to make a great living wage that they deserve. So I think in the last, ever since basically COVID, we've come a long ways in that area.
Yeah. Yeah.
As far as making sure that we are getting paid a higher labor rate. We are getting paid for all the procedures we're doing to these vehicles. So I don't want that to get lost in that in this conversation at all. Because I am totally for that. A lot of the previous guests that you've recently had on, I really appreciate all the work they've done to pave the way on that. And we're doing that stuff as well.
Yeah, I love that. And I appreciate that. So when you're stuck in a situation, not stuck, but when you're presented with the situation of insurance company is pushing back, do you typically find it's, I don't know if you even want to say this online. We may have to edit this out because this is worldwide. But do you often find that the issue typically resides with the adjuster? Is it more of like some people are easier to work with? And that's what can be the biggest hiccup?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can get the right person that truly understands what we do, that's why I love too, always inviting out, whether it be the DRP coordinator or for a non-DRP insurance companies. We can talk about this over the phone or through email as much as you want. Come on, I invite you to come on out and see what we actually have to do to repair these vehicles, what all we go through, what all these procedures are for sourcing parts, so you can see it real world.
That's right.
So, yeah, and if you can get the right person that's willing to listen to that conversation or actually cares about it, then you can make a lot of difference in that, I think. But again, you get a handful of folks, as with anything, that don't care. This is the way we're doing it. It's our way or the highway, or see ya.
Yes, exactly. I think that's a really good point that I hope everybody picked up on, to invite, rather, because oftentimes what I see happen a lot is we've got the shops versus the adjuster. And it's like, this UFC event, like, dun, 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 they're coming to the shop and no, my way. And it becomes this clash of the titans. Versus, I love what you said, inviting them out, sharing with them the experience. They may not all be open to it, but there are some that are, and it can really make everybody's lives. And for the consumer, we're really doing this, at the end of the day for the consumer. And we have a mutual consumer, and that gets forgotten about, I feel like.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So very, very, very interesting. So you're suggesting DRP shops can fix vehicles the proper way. According to what you have to say, the proper way would be according to the OE specifications. And at the same time, if the DRP relationships are going to sacrifice that you're okay with letting that relationship go.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. And I think that's where a lot of shops are at, really, Jerald, honestly.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I know there are a lot of DRP shops that don't do things the right way. There are non-DRP OEM certified shops that don't do things the right way as well. So, not everybody is doing things the right way.
True.
But not everybody is doing things wrong either. And I want to just bring that.
Yeah, clearing up this. Yeah, and that's the difficult with making general sweeping statements. It's right. And I feel like there's been a lot of that. So I applaud you for coming on and chit-chatting about that. Now, another thing that you guys are doing that I did want to touch on as well is you're very involved with your local trade schools. Can you share with us a little bit about that?
Yeah, and I know it's a Minnesota problem, and I believe it's a nationwide problem, the tech shortage.
Yes.
Our techs are aging out of this industry, right?
Yes.
I mean, we can leave it up to other folks, but it's on us to fix this problem. If we don't do it, nobody's going to.
I agree.
And if we don't have people to fix these cars, our businesses are, shut the doors, right?
Right.
Yeah, as an association, we've done a lot of things. Our local AASP of Minnesota Association.
Yeah.
Several years ago, started a additional nonprofit called MinCars, and between our association and some vendors, we're able to raise $250,000 in a couple months just in Minnesota. Yeah, just in Minnesota to address these concerns. And so what we've been doing is we've been working with high schools, we've been working with some school counselors, we've been working with the tech schools, and just getting the words out there, career fairs and all that kind of stuff, and showing the parents and the kids that there are a lot of options besides these four-year universities that they're getting pushed into, that a lot of these kids don't like sitting in the classroom and learning. They want to be out working with their hands. They want to be out doing stuff. So we're just trying to hit that market. We're having some successes. It's taken a while. It's a lot of work, and we've got a lot of work to do yet, but we're having some successes as far as getting more kids interested in both the auto body and mechanical industries.
I'm going to interrupt this podcast for just one quick second, because a lot of people wonder, Mickey, what is it that you even do besides host a podcast? Well, I do marketing, and really the biggest thing that I do is help you drive more traffic to your business. And not even just more traffic, but consistent traffic to your business. As a former shop owner, I know how important that is. So if that's something you're interested in, or you just want to talk about marketing or developing your business in general, feel free to reach out. You can visit collisioncentermarketing.com. There's a calendar on there, and you can just book a time that works for you, and we'll set up a phone call. Or you can email or call me, and my notes are down in the description of this episode. But I hope to hear from you. I'd love to help you build your business. But in the meantime, you better get back to this podcast because it's really good. Yeah, well, and that's another pain point that literally everybody I talk to, whenever I have a client call me for marketing. They want to increase business. I always say, I can push more vehicles to you.
Yeah.
The question really is, can you handle it? Do you have
the capacity?
Yeah, I mean, process is one thing, but do you have staffing to be able to handle more vehicles? That's one of my biggest questions I always ask, because otherwise we create more problems by pushing you more work.
Absolutely.
So I think this is, and I've had people on the show talk about this before, and I want to talk to you about it today because I feel like it's worth bringing up again, especially now that the podcast is so huge. We have so many people across the world listening to it. And this is a worldwide issue. It's not just Minnesota. It's not just the US. I mean, it is literally global.
Absolutely.
And I've had Brandon Eckenrode on. I believe you know him with CREF, Collision Repair Education Foundation. Yeah. And talking about the importance of getting involved in the trade schools. Yeah. So just to make it, kind of breaking it down for people that are listening, because it's like, oh yeah, get involved. But that seems so heady. It's like, seems like practically, what does that look like? Where would they begin with something like that?
So, I mean, a couple of different ways. A really easy way is just to reach out to your tech colleges in your neighborhood or in your communities.
Okay.
They'll have ways that you can get involved, whether it be being on a certification board for them or volunteering to have the kids come out to your shop and see some real world stuff, taking interns from them and all that stuff, or even the high school level, getting involved with the high schools that are, less and less high schools have a machine shop or have any type of the trades.
Right.
Just letting them know that, hey, how can I help you guys get trades back into your school? Or can I volunteer at your career fair event and show them what career options there are in the automotive industry? So little stuff like that, and just spreading the word however they can.
Yeah, that's so cool. Now, do you do something where you have people from the schools come, maybe like for summer break or something like that, where they can come in and do, I guess, what you would call like an internship or something? Yep. Okay, so what does that look like?
Yep. So all the schools handle it a little bit differently, and we work with three of them basically in our neighborhood. We have three good tech colleges pretty close to us. So all the instructors know that we're always open to either their summer intern, or their end of year intern programs. They all look a little bit different, but it usually involves anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks of the kids coming out or students coming out, and they try every different aspect of the business.
Okay.
Body, paint, estimating, detailing, and just kind of floating them around and just making sure they're exposed to all this stuff and showing them what the different opportunities are.
Yeah.
Then we'll also just kind of grade them on not necessarily their skills, but their attitude and willingness to learn and to be receptive of what we're trying to show them.
And I'm sure that's helpful for the instructors as well to get the feedback.
Absolutely.
Like, am I actually teaching them valuable, worthwhile information?
Yeah, absolutely. They love the feedback on the programs, and they're always very receptive on anything we say. Hey, we're seeing more and more glue pulling on dent repairs. Maybe you guys should get it. Like, yeah, absolutely. Great idea. They want to know what the real world stuff they should be teaching is.
Yeah, that's great. So have you found employees for your shop utilizing these programs?
Absolutely. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, and that's neat too, because I would assume most of those are younger, like 20 and under-ish. Is that about right?
Usually right around that 20-year-old, 21.
Okay.
Yeah,
and what's nice too is then you get to train them your way.
Absolutely. Yep.
Versus getting some
easier to train the right way versus untrain and train.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I was going to say that, but I like your way better.
Yeah. And again, it's on us. Back in the old school ways of doing things, we get these interns like, all right, now take out the trash, go clean the bathroom. Right? These kids went to school. They can go get a job at a fast food restaurant right now for $18 to $20 an hour.
Yes.
No, we have to give them that opportunity and show them that, one, they're valuable now, and how valuable they can be as they learn and grow in our environment.
Now, your internships, are those paid internships?
Yep. We absolutely always. Yep.
Awesome.
And again, just to show that we value these students' decisions to come into this industry.
Yeah.
And that we're going to, be here for them along the way.
Right. Well, it's an investment. Even if they don't go to your shop, hopefully they will go to a shop. And if we've got a bunch of shops participating in this, then we're collectively building that workforce, right? That would be my thought process on all of it.
Yep. And it's everybody's problem right now, including the consumer. I mean,
Yeah.
in Minnesota, we're scheduling out about 10 weeks right now at all 3 of our locations.
Yeah. Right. Right.
And a big part of that is labor shortage.
Yes, 100%.
The
I
market.
interviewed on an old podcast. I'll put a link to it. I actually interviewed a technical school student. Actually, no, he was still in high school, but he was doing like a tech program at a high school. Because I thought there's shops out there doing this. Let's hear from the students. What's their perspective on it? He did his internship at a Caliber Collision, but it really, because Caliber is really involved. I know a lot of the big consolidators get involved in this. So why aren't more like independents? Yes, you're part of a group, you're part of a network of one collision, but you're really your own shop. And I think we oftentimes leave the problem for somebody else to deal with.
Right. Leave it for the big guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Let them handle it. They can deal with it.
Good. Then they're going to get all the employees. Right? Or they're going to get all the students.
Well, and the student had an excellent experience, loved it, is pumped up to go and do more and to join the team. And I was really blown away how much he loved it, and how excited he was about it, how they really brought him under their wing and everything. And gosh, I think if we could multiply that around the country, around the world, we could really start shifting things rather than complaining about it.
Absolutely. Yep.
So when you've got the students coming in, as a culture, how are you welcoming? Is there anything different that you're doing to welcome them? Or is it like, hey, you're one of us, come on in? Is there special treatment? Because we're dealing with a different age demographic than most are used to dealing with, right?
Right. And we have had to change and adjust. It seems like younger generations' free time is so much more important. So we've gotten more flexible on our hours and that kind of stuff. But most importantly, just making sure that the entire team knows that when that person comes in, that we need them. We need to make sure that we show them that, yes, we're here to help you. You're going to help us, but we're here to help you in return.
Yeah.
And that we're going to show you how to do things the right way. And we want you to be in this industry.
Yeah.
Versus a grumpy old tech in the corner saying, why the hell did you go to school for auto body? Did your parents know any better? The old school stuff. You used to see. We can't have that anymore, guys.
I know.
If done correctly, this is a great way to make a living.
Yes, 100%. And that's a lot of it. I feel like we haven't marketed ourselves well. As a marketer, I feel like we have dropped the ball when it comes to making this look attractive. And it's a super lucrative business. It's a very lucrative way of living, a career.
Yes.
And it gets forgotten about. And not everybody is, like you said, not everybody's a sit in class all day kind of person. They want to work with their hands.
Yeah. And I feel like, years ago, the high schools were like, no, if you don't go to a 4-year university, you're not going to be successful.
Right.
It's just so frustrating to see these kids sitting in these classrooms that aren't learning anything, are going to come out with degrees that aren't worth anything and spend all this money and time.
I know.
Not for everybody.
I agree. Well, and one thing I wanted to mention too is your facilities have great online reviews, which I think is really important. And I believe that goes back to culture, of having a culture, and it starts at the top. So kudos to you, Jerald, for starting at the top, being a good, caring person that reflects down on your team. And then the team shows that to the consumer, to the customer, to the intern. I mean, really, it takes a special kind of shop to have 3 locations, all kicking butt, flourishing, growing. That's difficult to do in this market right now.
Well, thank you. Yeah. And it goes back to just having a great team.
Yeah.
And that's the other part, just knowing who your customer is.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we are on this DRP relationship, but we'll never lose sight of who's bringing their vehicle to repair for us. And that's our customer.
That's right.
And we want to make sure that we always remember that and keep that first.
Yes. Well, that was a mic drop moment right there. That's what it's all about, folks.
Yeah. And if you lose that, then none of the direct repair relationships, or it doesn't matter if you have them or not, none of it's going to matter.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm excited that we had a chance to talk about this. I think both things we talked about today are super important. You can be a DRP shop. I think the key that you're stating, that I believe as well, is you can have DRP relationships, but you as the shop owner, get to decide when and where that begins and stops. Because at the end of the day, you're the one that's liable. Something happens, who's in court? Not the insurance company.
Right.
You are.
We're fixing that car.
Yes. Yeah. And then the other big problem that we're dealing with is the lack of labor force and getting involved. So let me ask you one quick question, then we can wrap this up. For shops that are interested in getting involved with local tech schools, you said there's a lot involved. And because we have a labor shortage, there's not a whole lot of time. How much time is it you that's participating or your team? And then how much time are you spending being involved in all of this?
Yeah, it is a lot of time, but it's, again, like you said, an investment.
Yeah.
If we don't do this, look at where it leaves us,
Right.
So, I spend several hours a month, but also some of my staff as well.
Okay.
Whether it be on some advisory boards or helping the interns. Everybody's job is to help them learn, grow, be a part of the team. So that's the entire crew's job. But otherwise, just some general managers or myself that attend the board meetings with the colleges or the advisory committees.
Okay.
Or at the high school, checking out their programs and just offering whatever input we can give them.
Right. And I would imagine a shop can start smaller, doing a little bit, and as they get comfortable, work into more.
It might be easier for them, I would say, to reach out to the local tech schools and say, hey, how can I help?
Yeah.
Or their local association, their auto body trade association, whether it be SCRS or AASP or ASA, whatever program they're part of. They're going to have ways that they can get involved, I would think.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I appreciate this, Jerald. I appreciate you having the cojones to come on here and talk about this situation.
It's never easy, right? We're always on a balance, but
yes,
I think everybody's trying to, most of the time, everybody's trying to do it the right way and the right things.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate what you said. There's a lot of generalities. When we make generalities, we're missing out on pieces. So I appreciate you bringing this piece to the table, opening this up to chat about it. And if people have questions about what you're doing to get involved in the tech schools or how you're balancing the DRP relationships, would it be okay for them to reach out to you?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
I'm always open to talk about anything industry related.
Okay, perfect. So I'll put your email. Is that best?
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Okay.
Yep.
So Jerald's email is in the description if you want to reach out to him, if you have some questions. Obviously, such a cool guy. So happy to have you.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for coming on. And we're going to keep this one kind of short and sweet today because we had a couple things to talk about. And I don't think we need to talk about the fluff of all of it. Like, let's get to it. Let's talk about it. The solutions are there. We can talk about the problems all day long, but I love that we brought some solutions to the table today. So if you all have something to say, please comment below. If you're on YouTube, if you're on any of the Facebook groups, share what you think about this. What's your take on it? What are you doing in your shop? I really love the fact that this podcast is able to help so many shops. It's such an honor to be a part of something like this. And thank you, Jerald, for being a part of it today also.
You're welcome. Thank you for what you do.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, everybody. And we will see you next time. Bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We have some incredible topics and guests coming your way you will not want to miss. If you are watching on YouTube and don't want to miss the latest and greatest, you'll want to hit the bell after subscribing, so you will get a pop-up each time a video podcast goes live. To our devoted fans, would you mind paying it forward and sharing this little gem with someone else you think may benefit from it? Much love from all of us here at Body Bangin', all things auto body.